Welcome back to another fantastic property tour, Rankin family. Today, we are located in Parkland, Florida, looking at another gorgeous luxury home for sale on the market as we speak. And I want to give a huge thank you to Shila Hayon with Century 21 for allowing us to tour her beautiful listing and bringing it to the channel. I'll make sure to leave all of the information in the description below. Now, starting on the exterior, this is a fantastic property. So not only do you have elbow room between your neighbors, but you're situated on over 1 acre. So I know those of you that absolutely want some space, I know you can really see it in the front yard, but you're definitely going to see it towards the back. Now, as far as the material on the exterior, you see that we have the concrete stucco. But what's interesting about this property is that you have 2 separate entryways, as you can see. So plenty of parking available. And then, of course, right here, you're going to have your carport. You have the wood slat on the top. Then you have a 3-car garage, but you can also add the stackable. So a lot of folks that are buying properties like this or of this magnitude may have supercars that they want to stack on top of each other to increase the storage. Now, as we enter in here, you see the modern sleekness. So the main thing to keep in mind whenever we walk into this property is you're going to see a lot of the modern updates, a lot of the modern fixtures and materials, and European inspired. So in just this driveway alone, I'd say you can easily fit 10 to 12 cars. And then of course you have that garage right over there as well. So I'm going to turn you around so you can see, so you have the privacy, as you can see, surrounded by nature. And this is on the north side of Parkland. So if you've been to Parkland, Florida before, you know how appealing this area is. So as we enter inside of here, you have the covered front porch. You have this massive pivot door right here. You see the tent surrounding the picture windows as well. And that's going to certainly be apparent as we walk inside of the property. But I want you to see how massive it looks in here. Just really grand and a staple for this property. Then as we enter, you see the modern light fixtures on the exterior here as we enter. And this one's already open for us so we can see. Wow. Absolutely stunning. I'll do a full pan and we'll start right here inside of the great room. So before we continue, I just want you to see the front right here. So that just kind of gives you a better idea of what we're looking at. Now I'm going to turn you around. So what's really cool about this property and neat is as we walk through this property, you're going to see a lot of the floating ceiling designs, but then you also are going to have the cove lighting, then the clear story windows, as you can see. They're certainly apparent on top, brings in all the natural light that you can imagine, but you still have the tent, which creates that element of privacy. So this is a very interactive floor plan. Like I mentioned quite often, I'll stand on this angle so you can see the full scope of this room. Now, I want to take you to the kitchen because, like I mentioned earlier, European inspired. So you have a full European kitchen. You have a high bar right here. Then the extended island continues here. High-end countertops. As far as the flooring is concerned, you have Italian porcelain. So really just all around high-end materials. Right here, you see our cabinet doors with the glass panes inside there. So if you wanted to add some decor, you can certainly do that. Then you have this extended wet bar. Look at this. The porcelain tile continues all the way to the ceiling. The floating ceiling design enters inside the kitchen. And as we go to the formal dining area, you'll see that. But look at this. So if you've had any experience with the European kitchen, you can certainly tell in here. Now, as far as the cabinetry is concerned, so you do have the custom cabinetry, stacked cabinets on top, then right over here, high-end range. Look at this. So you got the Wolf range, right, of course, right here. This is going to be your 6-burner. Then you got an additional griddle. Then look at that, the wood slat range hood. Beautiful. Just an overall great property. Then you have your built-in Wolf microwave there. Got your sink inside of the island. overlooking. So if your guests are hanging out here at the bar, you can have great conversations. Okay, so now look how sleek this looks. You got your Sub-Zero wine fridge, can fit approximately 120 bottles inside of there. Then you got your paneled refrigerator and freezer. Look at this. Now this is what I'm talking about. This is a kitchen where you can spend so much time in here, especially if you have guests over. This is what you want to be dealing with. Now open up some of these drawers. They are going to have that soft close mechanism. Just look at the depth in there. Now turn you around, and even the porcelain extends on the backsplash. Very beautiful. Okay, so now as we continue, now you have an additional formal sitting area here. So of course that might be more of your formal great room, or your, informal, maybe a family room or something. And then here, more of your formal area. So if you're having tense conversations for any reason whatsoever, this is going to be the place where you want to hang out. And then continue in this way. Look at this. Surrounded by these massive windows, bringing in all the natural light. You see your outdoor retreat. We'll get to that a little bit later on. And I'll show you this angle too. So really just a fantastic property. The soaring ceilings enters inside of here again. And of course, if you close this pivot door, you'll have increased privacy again. So let's continue here. We'll head on this wing of the house, and then we'll go ahead and make our way around. So starting right over here, look at this, the first bedroom. So again, I'll pan you upward so you can see the floating ceiling with the cove lighting. Then you have LED lights in here illuminating this entire room. Then you head right here and look at this. So you got your own ensuite, high-end countertops. Then you have the LED mirror right there, and a picture window right above that, and then your walk-in shower. And you know how I feel about the shower niches. So we have the shower niche in here, the chrome shower wand, and the shower head. All of the full bathrooms, or walk-in showers, are zero threshold. So that minimal look. And then turning it around here, you have a closet. So adding in the racks, depending on your personal preference, whether you wanted to add the chrome racks, the wooden racks, you can choose to do those. Of course, you got your furnace right here. Now heading into this area, the Italian porcelain extends in here. So zero carpet whatsoever. Then as I pan up here, you got 12-foot ceilings with the floating ceiling design. So as mentioned, every single room that we're gonna see, or have the good fortune of seeing, is gonna have that. So I'll do a full pan. So a queen bedroom set would fit perfectly in here, maybe for the kiddos or something of that nature. But I love that you have this little side patio with the sliders. You can just hang out there, depending on who's gonna be staying in this room. And then you got your ensuite here. So it looks like right here, we have the porcelain countertops that extend to here, and your zero threshold full shower. And then each one of these are gonna have the chrome shower head with the shower wand, and then that shower valve. But then also what's neat is that you see this chrome trim around the shower niche. Nice little detail that they added there. And then your closet here. So let me know in the comments below what you're thinking about this particular property. Is this something you could see yourself living in? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Now, right over here, you see our powder bath. Look at this. But really neat, I want you to see this. Some high-end material as far as the countertops is concerned. And then you have this accent lighting that illuminates this. And a nice, beautiful, sleek sink. All right, so now we're gonna head this way. Now you come down this hallway. As you saw, this is gonna be our primary suite. So Extremely roomy, extremely spacious, very airy. And then look at that. You got your nice tall sliders right there. So if you wanted to head out to your backyard retreat, you can do that. I know you can get a sneak peek. You see there's 2 pickleball courts out there. But of course, depending if you like basketball or anything like that, you can always make the modification to accommodate you. But in here, you see floating ceiling design again. Then the LED lights. And then you got this flat panel right here. I'll push this in. You got some wall storage right here. Nice little wall closet. So easily accessible if you wanted to add your fresh bed sheets in there or possibly some clothes. And of course, let me know in the comments what you would add in here. And then also I should mention right above this, you have some additional snack cabinets. Okay. Now heading in here, this was unique. I haven't seen this before in a home, and let me know what you think about this. So you have this nice little intermediate area, something like that, right? Between you and the primary bath. So I know I take that back. I've seen it in one place and they had it kind of set up as more of a sanctuary or something like that, like a nice little sanctuary where you can just read and get away for the most part. So if you wanted to add some chairs in here and just have it as a nice little sitting area, you can do that. Cool thing is, inside of the primary bedroom, you have plenty of space to work with as having a designated sitting area. Look at this. Beautiful. Again, you have the floating ceiling design, LED lights, beautiful gold sconces. You got the tile accent that continues, or the tile wall rather, that continues all the way to the ceiling. And look at this. Beautiful. You even got the gold spouts right there. Very beautiful and sleek sink right there that we had seen inside of the powder bath as well. So in here, and even inside of the walk-in shower, folks, you have more of the double floating ceiling design. So really nice feature that I think they've done a great job of adding. But now you got your freestanding tub here. You know, we get comments all the time about the tub in the shower. So I know you can appreciate this fact. Then you have your smart toilet over here. So of course you got your water closet and then some more storage right over here to the left. But taking you in here, I wanted to get you a close-up of that floating ceiling design. Look at that. Very impressive, massive shower bench. You know how we feel about that. Zero threshold again. You got the dual shower wands. It's a full steam shower here. Rain shower heads right above that and over here. So let's say you added that sauna to your home and then you come in here and get a nice steam shower, crispy clean, and you are certainly good to go. So I'm very impressed with this builder. They've done a great job, and let's continue our tour. So the one thing that you can certainly appreciate as well is that you see the magnitude as far as the windows are concerned, right? So you got the soaring ceilings, you got a ton of windows that really just accommodate this home, really stands out. Very lovely. Okay, so now we're gonna continue this way. I know we had the good fortune of seeing the kitchen. Now you wanna see what's over here and we will not miss a thing. So right over here, you have your utility room, AKA a laundry room. So you got your Samsung oversized washer and dryers, plenty of cabinetry. Then you have quartz countertops right here, as you can see. And look at this. This is really unique. Every single door in here has this mechanism. So there's a magnet and essentially nice little door stopper. Really cool feature. Then inside of here, you got the flat panel cabinets, as you can see, with the soft close. And even in here. So extremely sleek. The wall-to-wall cabinetry, so an additional sink right over here. A ton of space to work with. Now I want to make sure that you have the good fortune of seeing the garage. Look at this. Very impressive as far as the size is concerned, right? So you got the side access door right over there, but you have a ton of space, and you see the soaring ceilings continues in here, as I mentioned earlier, where you could add the stackable, so you can stack your supercars in there. Okay, so now heading over here, you have a nice little prep kitchen, right? So you have an additional sink, your additional refrigerator, some increased counter space. Go ahead and prep some things over here, some more cabinetry that you can take advantage of, and the Italian porcelain continues. And then of course they have a door right here. If you have guests over, maybe you're not cooking or it's a tense conversation and you know, you're just hanging out here, you can close that off and then just create more of that sleek look. Okay, so now as we continue, let's go ahead and head over here. So now right here, you have your full bathroom. This is what they call a cabana bath, right? Because you have that access to your backyard retreat. So if you're, you know, taking a dip in the pool, having a good time, you just head over here, a couple steps away, and rinse off, and you don't have to worry about tracking anything throughout the house. And of course, the same thing over here. Beautiful. So now we're gonna head over here. And then there's speakers throughout the entire house. So you can go ahead and connect to it via Bluetooth and then have your favorite music playing as much as you like, really. Okay, so heading in here, make sure you stay tuned for our separate guest suite so you can see that. And then of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts as far as the design is concerned. But now, this will be your perfect media area. So the builder actually intentionally blacked those out right there. So if you wanted to have a nice, you know, time away, right, and watch your favorite movie, you can do so without the sun interrupting you. The floating ceiling design, you got a wet bar over here, a beverage fridge, some more custom cabinetry here, and top of the line countertops. So if you wanted to add the theater seats in here, you have a ton of room to work with, or maybe you just wanted to add a cozy couch, you can certainly do that. Now, what's interesting is if you wanted to possibly make this, you know, an additional room or maybe a study, that'd be perfect because this is a full bathroom. You know, I had mentioned though that if for some reason you're watching your favorite movie and it's, you know, very tense and you're just sweating, you go ahead and walk a couple feet and you can shower. Just click pause on there and you can continue that movie, no problem. All right. So now let's go ahead and continue this way. So we already had the good fortune of seeing that. Now we're going to head down here. The Italian porcelain continues here. You have this little recessed area all along the property. You'll notice that it gives the illusion of baseboards, but a nice little sleek design that I know you can appreciate. Now head in here, next bedroom. You have your ensuite. Then you got these sliders, the floating ceiling. Each one of these bedrooms, you could fit a queen bed set in here comfortably. In here, I'll make the bold claim that a king bedroom set would fit in here comfortably. Full walk-in closet, as you can see. Now the first two, the closets were not massive, of course. They weren't massive, you know, where you can just walk in there willy-nilly, but at the same time, you still have plenty of space. But I appreciate that this one was a full walk-in closet. You got dual sinks in here, your two LED mirrors, as you can see, porcelain tile, accent walls, zero threshold. The Italian porcelain looks like it continues in here, the sleek drain, and then the chrome fixtures. All right, so I have to remind you again. Oh, and then also before we continue, right here you have a nice little recessed area as well. So if you wanted to add a desk there, or just add that dresser right there, you can certainly do that. And then of course, heading down here. So this is going to be perfect for, you know, massive families or folks that like to entertain, or, you know, quite frankly, if it's something where you want to just buy a property of this magnitude and you have the luxury of doing so, then you can certainly do that. So a lot of uses for this beautiful property. Now you got your walk-in closet right over there. And look at this. I just want you to see every single detail possible. A lot of these builders, of course, put a lot of thought into their design, and they really take pride in their product. So I tried to be as thorough as possible so we don't miss anything. So continuing out here, I know you can appreciate the space that you get between your neighbors, of course. And like I mentioned a little bit earlier, this is on the north side of Parkland, so very desired area. One of those things where folks actually seek this area out when available. So now heading over here, this is a perfect recreational room, children's retreat. You can make this into a game room, or really, you know, depending on your preference, a massive study too. I don't think you would do that, but you'd have a dang good view, I'll tell you that. So really the possibilities are endless. I just like to give you ideas of what is possible. And of course, I always encourage you to let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, so now heading outside. As mentioned, just under 1.1 acres. So you can see the full scope even in the backyard. And then of course you have plenty of space even in the front yard to work with. So now heading right out here, you see you have your outdoor kitchen. Perfect place. You got an additional refrigerator right there. Built-in grill, high grill. You got an additional sink, as you can see, your pool and spa to entertain and take advantage of here. And look how much room you have to work with. So you have that spiral staircase leading you up to the second level. We'll go up there in just a second, but I just wanted you to see how much room you have to work with. Look at this. So if you wanted to add this as a basketball court, you can do that. Maybe you wanted to do a little bit of tennis, you can do that as well. And then you still have some space available if you wanted to add that playground or possibly, you know, a trampoline or something like that. So before we head upstairs and we wrap up the tour, of course, I want you to see the full guest house. So now you have multiple access points. So this is, of course, going to head into your full bath. You got the zero threshold again. You got your shower niche. Got your vanity right there. You got recessed lights surrounding that, depending on what time of day that you're utilizing this. Now heading in here, look at this. This is going to be your perfect living area with your kitchen over here, of course. So if you wanted to use this as an in-law suite, this is going to be a perfect place for you. The flat panel cabinetry, as you can see, with your massive sink, picture window right above that. And like I always mention, I always got to, you know, let's say, just got to mention this, that this is sold as is. The furniture will be for sale as well, for the right price, of course, and the right offer. But you can move in here as seen on the current video. And of course, as always, check the price in the description and the title, because it may change and is subject to change. So I don't want to mislead you whatsoever. So when in doubt, check out the title. But look how much room you have in here. You have the sliders, queen bedroom set would fit perfectly in here. And I want to also mention they are doing a few more touch-ups, so that way you will get the best product possible, as if this wasn't enough for you. So let's go ahead and head to the second level real quick. So this was a one-level home, but of course they did add the exterior balcony, which I know you can appreciate. So if you wanted to entertain even further, you can certainly do that. Or if you want to make some announcements, you just head up here. And then, of course, that'll give you a better scope of the entire plan. Almost there. All right, here we go. So the concrete stucco extends all the way around. So in the front and the back. So you can see the clear story windows there. You head down this way and look how much room you have to entertain folks. So you have your full patio equipment up here. You can hang out and have a fantastic time with your guests, friends, family, all the above. And other than that, family, that was another beautiful property tour. All right, Rankin family, that was it for this beautiful luxury home tour right here in Parkland, Florida. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this particular property. Is this something you could see yourself living in? Would you make any changes? If so, let me know in the comments below. Of course, if you want more information about this home or any home we showcase, reach out to the information in the description. Consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss a tour every single week. And I'll see you folks on the next property tour.